And this is John from Square Zero. Today, I interview a good friend of mine who I've known for a very long time, Jim Harenya. Jim is a very, very passionate leader. I admire him so much, and he's going to tell us the story of how he currently is managing 3 projects, which means 3 businesses, right? And we'll talk about how he started, how he was able to get to where he is today, and in spite of all the challenges that he's faced, and just really learn from him how he was able to start in the journey of becoming more self-sufficient and just basically escaping the rat race. So enjoy, everyone. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon to some people out there. This is John again from Square Zero. This is actually season 2 of my podcast. Who would have thought it would make it to season 2? So today I have a very special guest. It's a very good friend of mine, Roland Jim Hareno, aka Jim, aka Best Dad, as you can see on his shirt. I've known Jim for a really long time. We came up in the BPO ranks together. And so I think what I'd like for Jim to talk about today is obviously still in line with the theme of the podcast, and that's talking about the journey that we're in to fulfill our dreams. Some of us dream about getting out of the rat race and really setting ourselves up for success long term, as opposed to working a 9 to 5 job. And I think Jim, my good friend Jim, is one of the best examples of someone who has actually started already. I think he's going through a lot of things right now with some of his projects, and that's usually the case. But that's usually the best part of a startup, right? So, Jim,
Yeah.
thank you again for being here today. It's an honor to interview you. It's an honor to hear from you, hear your stories, hear your journey so far. Hear what you have to share. Whoever's listening to this, I'm sure will find a lot of inspiration. So to start off, I'd like to do this a little bit different than what I usually do with my previous episodes, where um, I'd like for you to first talk about your current projects, like where you are now, like what are you working on. Jim, I think has about 3 projects ongoing, or maybe more. I know at least 3 of those projects, and then just kind of talk about what your projects are, like what the companies are about, and then we'll deep dive into how you got started on these companies, right? So yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Hareno. Yes, talk about your projects, Jim.
Nakakabab kasi English-speaking mga tao dito. I've listened to your previous podcast. Like, do I want to do this?
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. You can talk in Tagalog. We can talk in Tagalog. Okay lang naman. We can talk in English, whichever language you feel most comfortable in. It's fine.
Great. So, currently, as what you mentioned, no, I'm doing multiple projects. First is I building an organization. I'm help building an organization. It's also it's a virtual assistance company. So what we do is I manage the operations in the Philippines. I source for people to be deployed because we're actually trying to resolve the 4 pain points of virtual assistants, because we were catering to small enterprises only and small people, right? These are not the organizations that we would rather go to the BPO. Because this one will cater only to businessmen who needs 4 hours of assistance per day, administratively, right? Who will do their social media management, some clerical tasks in their office. That's the one. Okay, so
What's the
virtual
what's the name of
assistants.
the company, of the virtual assistant company?
Okay, it's Elevations Global Solutions.
There you go. Elevations
Yeah,
Global Solutions. And I
we're
think
based in Denver.
you're the COO, right?
No, I
That's
just
your
do the operations.
that's your official title, right? Yeah, yeah, it's on the website. It's on the website. I saw it. It's pretty cool.
So I'm not, dude. I'm not really fan of titles, right? So just
Yeah.
for paper, but still you would do the paperwork, right? So that's what they call it. But yeah, I handle the major operations. I'm responsible for the people in the Philippines. Yeah, that's one. Our major clients are real estate professionals in the US. They need people who will manage their transactions, people who will manage their documents, compliance, ensuring that everything is in place at any given time or any stage before the closing. And even post closing, we manage that. That's verse one. So I spent roughly around 6 hours of that on a daily basis because I also do client calls, I do presentations with the clients. My partners are actually realtors in the States. So from an industry standpoint, I'm the one who has vast experience in terms of outsourcing. And I'm the one who also can elaborate more on the values that we can bring into the organization, talking about our talent pool, our highly educated professionals in the Philippines, right? The quality of work that we do, the benefits of outsourcing, and all of those outsourcing staff. So
You could
that
also be
takes
the chief outsourcing officer. So COO stands for two different things. Yeah.
nice. Yeah. And then, so that's one. Then I also have, I'm a licensed non-life insurance agent. So if you need help with your automobile, right, comprehensive insurance, CTPL, your properties, if you have businesses that you want to get insured, right, you have a travel company or travel agency, or you're a frequent traveler who wants to get travel insurance for the entire year, right? If you need surety, bonds, I can help you with that. So marine insurance also is part of it. So if you have businesses that you transport goods from place to place, we can insure that for you. You just talk to me. So, and I have a partner who's doing the administrative stuff. I have my own VA also who help, in doing bits and pieces of work. And
Do you
so,
have a
that's
name for the? Is there a name for? Is that an agency that you have for? Is that an insurance agency or is it more like a self-employed type of thing?
yeah, it's more of a self-employed right now kasi medyo small time pa tayo, right? I mean, the goal is only do, basta yung portfolio natin hindi pa ganun kalaki, right?
Nice. Yeah.
So we'll get there, hopefully in the future, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Then I'm also I do a consultancy role for a nonprofit organization. It's Innovations for Community Health. Their website is www.innovationch.org. You may know more about us there. So this nonprofit organization is an intermediary facility in finding the missing tuberculosis cases in the Philippines. So I lead the private sector engagement lead. Private sector engagement. I work with my team, with the local government, city health officers. We also work with doctors, medical societies, because we're trying to find these cases so they can refer them to us. We have packages which can help them also. When doctors refer patients to us, we can handle the what you call this, the not we can do the treatment also. We can also do the testing and including medications. We can dispense the medication because we partnered with DOH.
Yeah. And this is all non-profit, right? Like this is something that you're doing as a way of giving back to people who need it most, giving back to the community, right?
Yeah, there's a small fee for that, right? But apart from that, John, I joined the corporate workforce when I was 21 years old, I think, right after college. So most of my gig is more money making, I should say, right, or improving yourself. For this one, even if the fee was not that huge, compared to corporate roles, this one gives me a lot of emotional income. So it's a way of giving back. These programs are funded internationally. We have USAID, USAID. The others were funded by Stop TB Partnerships and what is the other one? RPSL, and there's a local nonprofit also supporting us. It's PBSP. Yeah.
Amazing. And you know why? And that's everything that you said, all of the projects that you have now. Those are all the reasons that I admire you so much, right? Like a lot of us, no, it's true because like for me personally, a lot of people that I know always dream about getting these things done, like having those things and having those projects, right? Getting started. And that's what inspired me to start this podcast, is because I can't get started. I'm always in this analysis paralysis type of thing.
Right.
So that's why you're such an inspiration. And so it'd be interesting to hear you talk about how you got started with all of these projects, like in like maybe you could do it in chronological order. I know for a fact that until a few years ago, or maybe just a year ago, you're still
Yeah.
part of the corporate workforce, right? And
Right.
then
Yeah.
and so how did you get all of these things done in such a short amount of time?
Not too short, but um, may kanya-kanyang oras siguro talaga. We have to trust the process, right? So probably that's one thing that I can tell you. Um, Let me bring us back to memory lane. I spent around almost 10 years to the same organization where we met. Almost
Yeah.
10 years. It's 9 and 8 months. And then there came a point wherein um, I want to I want the next level, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always open for feedback. So I ask people, how do I get there?
By
Because
next
that's
level,
also
you
the
mean promotion, right? Like the next
right.
role,
So
the next title that you could get.
right. So John, I would admit, I know hindi naman kayabangan, no? Pero I know for myself na whenever I do things, I want to make sure that I do good at what I do, right?
Yeah.
And then the first level of promotion at that time was to be a supervisor. I was a retail loss agent, and then I wanted to be a supervisor.
Yep.
And then someone else got promoted. Okay. And then so I asked my boss, my previous boss, and I asked him, who's this guy who was promoted? There were a handful of hundred of agents there, but I don't know the guy, right?
That
He was
wasn't
one of
me,
those.
right? Was that me?
No, you were
Someone
from a
else.
different program.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
someone else. And then it's not about the person. It's more of why was he promoted?
What did he
And
have?
then
What were the qualifications and skills that he had that made him more
right,
qualified than you?
correct, right. And then my boss was kind of busy that time, and he said, "Okay, let's take join me for breakfast somewhere in Salcedo Market." Right. Then we went there. It's a Saturday morning, and he was asking me, "So, why were you asking? Bakit sila na promote? Bakit hindi ikaw?" Right. I was like, "Oh, kasi hindi magaling ba sila? Hindi sila kilala. Hindi sila top. They're not the top performers." And he was like, the first question he asked me was, "Nag-apply ka ba?" Dude, it dawned on me, para ako binuhusan ng malamig na tubig.
So
Hindi
you
ako
didn't
nag-apply.
apply.
Hindi ako
Ah,
nag-apply. So
yeah.
that's like, so, yeah, then he said, you know what? It should start from you, right? You have to take actions to get what you want. You have to do something to get it. You have to ask for it, right? And then he asked me more of what I know about the supervisory role. What do you tend to do if you want to be a supervisor? Or when you get to be a supervisor? What do
Quick
you do
question.
when...
What were you thinking at that point? Like, were you expecting that they would just hand you the promotion without any application? Was that the mindset at that time? And
No, not necessarily that they will hand it to you, right? But someone who will push you maybe. Because I wasn't told by
oh,
my
okay.
supervisor that, hey, there's an application, you may want to apply. Or probably at the time, my direct report boss doesn't believe in me. I don't know. But
Okay.
or probably because I have you know me, I'm a people person. I have a comfort level speaking to people, right? So, but
Yeah.
no one has told me, or no one has told me directly. So, oh, may opening, apply ka na, and all that, right? So, and probably I was expecting na, siguro that's my fault then, no? That I expected too much. There was no accountability on my part. I just want that promotion. So Don, it gave me so much humility. That conversation gave me so much humility. And also a call to action. Ask yourself, what do you want? So I was taking notes in my mind, no? Yung mga sinasabi niya. And then, after that conversation, I realized I wasn't prepared for the role. I was not.
Mm.
I don't know what it is for, right? All I know is that I'm good at what I do. Or probably not, I'm not even good at what I do. Akala ko lang yun, right?
Yeah.
So, and,
You're good
and
at being an
that
agent,
comes
but not necessarily ready for the next level or the role.
the next role,
Yeah.
right? So and then what I did is, um, first I prepared my resume. I asked for the application form. There was no opening, but I asked for the form already, John. And I keep updating the form every freaking week. I tell you, every freaking week. I write a few sentences this week. I'll revise it next week because I find it odd or it's not pleasing to read. Rewrite, right? And then suddenly, when you came in, there was another guy who's my namesake also. His name is Jim.
Another
We all
Jim.
that name you. So yeah, you know the guy. So anyway, he fell out of the training. He wasn't able to join. And then suddenly they said, okay, there's this guy, his name is Jim Haranyo, just pull him. Ask Arlene to interview him. Then Arlene was seated probably a few stages. I don't know her. I mean, I know her that she's a manager, but she doesn't know me, by name, and we were not talking. So he was surprised that I was the guy that he interviewed him at that time. So to cut it short, I got the promotion. Then I worked with you, right? And then I handled and supported multiple programs. People left, you left. I was left there. I mean, yeah, I stayed. And then the program grew also. There were multiple lines of business which came in. And then my mindset is, after that year when you left, I was thinking, oh, sige, next level na tayo, right? Next level because I get the comfortability of what I do already. And probably at the time I was thinking I can do better or I can help the organization more if I'll do something. And then also what helped me to realize that is during our supervisory training, there was a question, not really a question, but there was a statement made by Miss O na sinabi niya, 5 years from now, the BPO will boom, right? Or these organizations will grow. Not necessarily our organization. Pero if that happens, where will you be? Will you be ready to take that role? So that struck me. Kasi di ba na-experience ko siya firsthand sa babae. So I want to make sure now that when that happens, regardless if it's the main organization or sa labas, I'm ready. So that's why every day I toil and endeavor to make sure that I'm improving my skills and learning ins and outs of the business. I've attended classes. I've I've read books. Then I invested in learning para matuto.
Right.
But suddenly didn't end kasi parang there were hiccups along the way, because of the probably the structure maybe.
Politics. I'm sure there
We
were a
say
lot of
politics.
politics.
Let's be nice.
No, I mean
No,
you gotta call it what it is, and I'm sure nobody would be surprised that politics are present because politics are present everywhere, right? And politics is just another form of social standing, right? Or like just social currency, maybe. But yeah, if it was politics, like or maybe you can tell the story in your own way. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. Let's call it that way. Let's call it that way. Let's call it by its name. No? Sige, natin politics. And then, so, and me, because I'm very confrontational, right? So, paano ba? Okay, so to give you a context of what happened, there were 3 of us, I think, who applied for the post, or there were just 2 of us. There was a post open. But
for manager,
at the time,
right?
for manager. So at the time, I applied, but I didn't tell anyone. My boss knows that I applied because he signed my papers, right?
Yeah,
But no one else. So the other supervisors were asking, "Why nag-apply ka ba?" Because they're looking up to you. The people that you've hired to be supervisors or colleagues now. I said, I didn't say no, pero tahimik lang ako. So I didn't tell anyone. So parang at the time, there were so many changes happening, and there's this friend of mine who applied as a manager kasi sabi niya, She's afraid na baka hindi, it's gonna be a lot painful. So she was surprised that I also applied. No, tapos at the time, um, I remember they tried to call me at 2 in the morning and my shift starts at 7 a.m. So hindi ako nag-pick up ng phone. Pero I saw it. I turned it off no nagre-ring. Kasi I have to sleep eh. Kasi I'm a sleepy guy. So I have to make sure that I complete 6 to 8 hours of sleep before I work para mag-function ako. 7 in the
Sleep
morning,
is
there's
important.
already an OIC. Yeah. 7 in the morning, there's already an OIC manager.
Wow.
And then sabi, yeah. So, and then I applied. Maraming applications. So para bakit may OIC, hindi pa ako na-interview, right?
Was there a schedule
So,
set for 2 a.m. for the manager interview or
There
no?
was not. There was not.
It was
There was not.
impromptu.
It was impromptu, but you can understand the dynamics because they work at night. It only happens that my work starts at shift. My shift starts at 6, and then I think they were also they're trying to close that because the hiring manager at the time was flying to Cebu. So to cut the story short, I asked, bakit meron na? And I know that they tried to call me and then they said, hindi, 2 weeks lang yan. No? Titingnan 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, ko naman, tapos tingnan natin. Those, and then it didn't happen. Like, yeah. And then, these are all my friends. Alam mo naman yan, di ba? I mean, I have nothing against this contemporaries or friends that we have who got promoted. And they also feel bad for me. Feel bad in a sense that they have to talk to me. And they felt sorry. Sabi ko, no, it's not about them eh. Hindi naman
And
nila
they're now your boss, right? Like because they're the manager OIC, technically speaking.
Yeah. I reported to them.
Yeah.
So gumawa ako. Tapos sinakwento niya sa akin how it happened and all. Very honest conversation. I said, no worries. And, I support her naman. I'll do what I'll do. I'll try to help her. I'll do what I'll do. And then, siguro the bad part about it is I want to put this is already to be water under the bridge, no? Pero just for the sake of conversation, sana ma-edit, pero kung hindi, so, they bluffed kasi. Someone bluffed at me. Said, they told me na, according to this guy, these are your opportunities. Pinapasabi niya, hindi ka muna interviewin kasi ganito, ganyan. And you know what? The person who's delivering me the message is the same person who actually gave those opportunities. You see, parang sasabihan kita, sabi ni hindi ka muna interviewin kasi ganito, yung ito ayusin mo daw, ito, ganito. But those feedback that she's giving, it's coming from her. Right?
Wow.
That's
weird.
And I was like, yeah, it's really weird. So I told them, I was young at the time, no? So, 27, 28. So, being honest, di pa ako masyadong diplomatic. So, I told them na siguro doon mag-apologize ako, no? Pero hindi naman, I don't know. Pero siguro it helped me also. Sinabi ko na, tell the guy, tell your boss. He doesn't have the balls. Because if he had the balls, he would tell me those opportunities. Because he can phone me, right? They tried to call me at 2, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And you never see that nowadays anymore. Like that kind of practice. I think we've evolved enough as an industry where interviews are scheduled ahead of time, so you know your exact schedule, and they give you ample time to prepare.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like it's a best practice. It's an industry standard now that anyone who applies actually gets feedback, like, especially if it's for a leadership position, and you still have to see that person again the following day. It's not like they're an external applicant that's that you'll never see again, right? So then if it's someone that still has to contribute to your team, then it just makes sense that you give feedback so that the person feels that number one, it's not personal, like because I'm sure you felt it was personal, right? And number two, like it's constructive in such a way that it prepares you for the next opportunity for movement, right? So that you can work on the things that you need to work on. And it has to be delivered in person. Like, come on.
Right. probably my takeaway on that on that experience is that these are the things that you don't want to do when you get to that role,
Yeah.
when you get to that position. That's part of the learning. Now, fast forward, John, right after that, the following day, instantaneously, right, the next day, the next shift, I was summoned, in the office of the vice president of the program. And I was told,
Really?
hey, Jim, so they need a, yeah. So at that time, I was summoned, and then there was a need for a leader who will help the foreign language program. So if you know in the organization before, we have French speaking, Korean speaking. Those were my team. So I was told there was a need there, so I may be interested to be there. And again, being very candid, I asked, why am I being chosen to be for this program? Do they want
Wait,
me out?
is this for a promotion or it's for the
No,
same
no,
role?
it's for the same role, but it's for with a different leadership. It's
So
with a
you're like
different
it's like you're
leadership.
being exiled to a different department or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But for me,
Wow.
that was a movement, right? That was just a lateral movement. Because I'm very, ano naman dyan eh, if you don't want me, I'm okay, right? Kasi di ba sabi nila, you believe in yourself.
Right.
Before you believe in yourself, you have to know yourself and
Yes.
understand yourself, right?
Yes.
Once you know
Yes.
that, I have no insecurities at the time. If that's what they wanted, syempre they're the people in position, and I feel that there was an opportunity also to grow there. At saka, do you really want to work with the same leadership na ganun yung ginawa, right? So you may want a new leadership, right? But I was also candid to ask at the time, kung bakit ako minumove? Do they want me out? And then there was a very safe answer. Galing ko, no? Ewan ko bakit ko nasasabi yun dati. Ewan ko talaga. So, wala pa akong ano nun eh. Paano ba? Wala pa akong orientation sa business world.
Yeah,
So, hindi ko
Game
pa,
of Thrones hasn't come out yet before, so
right. So, so they gave me a very safe answer that it's not important. It's not important. What is important is the leadership who's hiring me believes in me and they wanted me to join. So the guy happens to be my previous teammate in Wyndham, right? He was the hiring manager at the time. So I took that chance. Then I moved to the foreign language program. I've handled a distribution team. Then my boss went to the States for, I think, 3 months. I moved to that program 2 months and I was the OIC manager of the program. And then I was surprised and I really admired her because she mentored me to be ready for the post, right? Pati dun sa paggawa ng mga metrics, right? Dun sa mga reporting niya, the templates, it's fail proof, it's para siyang, ano ba, you'll just have to click. Pag kinlik mo na yung instructions, click this link, paste this, you know what I mean? It's all there,
yeah,
right? And
everything's laid
then,
out, all the
obviously,
scenarios, every possible situation is planned already, right? Like you could pick
correct.
anyone from the street and put them in that role and they could do it because it's already
Right.
all set up.
That's
Yeah.
from my report point. And then they gave me an exposure in client and vendor management. I was responsible for the weekly review, responsible to the monthly review. I sit also for the quarterly reviews with the senior leadership team. And then ultimately I was responsible for the entire program at the time. Then she went back from the States, and I think at the time she was already ready for the next role to be the senior manager. Apparently, medyo saturated na kasi rin yung leadership at the time dyan. And then people are
Wow.
leaving also, yung mga nasa top management. And then you realize, you can ask yourself and say, kaya hanggang kailan mo papatunayan yung sarili mo, right? Kanino mo papatunayan? Eh yung mga pinagpapatunayan mo, umalis na, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think then there was an opportunity which opened in your site in Ortigas. Apparently, I didn't get the post. Someone else got it, but it's okay, because I was heading for a better ride. Then I moved to a different organization. Basically, it's still travel management. I worked with people who came from the same organization where we came from. So basically, the culture was around the same. The values that we bring with us, our trainings as leaders are the same. So we have the same line of sight, so to speak. I've enjoyed working there, but the program was difficult. We've been through hell and out, but I should say we were successful also. Then an opportunity came. I wasn't looking for jobs at the time, but someone told me there was this travel company based in Australia and they need a manager for the Philippine side. So basically, what we did is what is left in Australia is only the executive team, but majority of the operations is in the Philippines. So from payment review, sales and service, ticketing across all sites, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Philippines, it's in Makati, it's in Manila. So I headed the operations in Manila at the time. And then prior to their acquisition with a bigger travel company, another opportunity opened up again to the company where I belong in the mall near the Mall of Asia. So I went back. And
So
then
do you wanna name these companies or just keep it
sure,
confidential?
sure. So
So you
go
were
ahead.
with
No, it's
Teleperformance, right? Or
yeah,
was
I
yeah,
was
people
with the
support?
performance.
Yeah,
People support, I should say, yeah.
right.
People support for years, almost 10 years, 10 years, 8 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, then I moved to EXL for over 2 years. After that, I moved to Skidoo, the
Skidoo,
Australian
right.
company, for another 1 year and 9 months, I think. And then I went back to EXL, yeah,
Oh, okay.
because of their
Okay.
culture, people,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And then pandemic happened, I have different role. I have another role. I moved to an insurance claims management program, and then but we were
So
reporting to work every.
at this point you were still just a full-time employee. None of the projects that you have now are
Yeah,
existing, right? Yeah, okay.
none of the projects, right? So
Amazing.
I'm still an employee, but um, you know, here's the thing: if you do the math, Jan, we only work 8 hours a day. Give and take, you add 3 hours, your lunch break and your travel time, 11 hours maybe. But if you ask me about just the work hours, you have 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, right? So of your 168 hours in a week, you only take 40 hours. That's only 27% of your life. Work is only 27% of your life, right? So what do you do with the 73% apart from sleeping?
You're counting the weekends, right? For on the 73% or just the
Yeah,
weekdays? Okay,
no,
okay.
just the weekdays. Yeah, the
Wait,
60.
so if
Yeah.
it's
Sorry. You're counting the weekday, the weekends. Yeah,
okay, there. Yeah.
7 days a week multiplied by, yeah,
Oh,
24.
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at the math, because that's part of the crucial hours. If you look at the math, you ask ourselves, what do we do in the remaining 73% of our lives, right? No matter
Okay.
what you do, either you're just sitting down, or you're driving, you can listen to podcasts. When you sit down at home, do you watch TV? Do you watch Netflix? Or do you also watch something that will inspire you, or you learn something else, right? Or something new. And then at the time, I knew that I have to ask myself to say a couple of times, during the pandemic, when the pandemic struck, what will I do if this is the only thing that I do for a living, right? If it happens again, kumare na wala ka sa program, or you get redundated, right? What do? Right? So you have to hustle. You really have to hustle. If 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 there's one thing that motivated me to do the insurance, also I'm not plugging, but I'll just tell you,
Yeah.
the insurance thing, because I'm a believer of insurance. I think in my early age, alam ko na insurance yung reason bakit may mga mayayaman at may mga mahirap. I knew that because I have
It's one of
friends who
the
were well
vehicles,
off.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, my friends were well off, namatay yung tatay, bakit okay pa rin naman sila, right? Bakit yung mahirap pag naman yung tatay mo? Parang hirap na hirap ka talaga, right?
Yeah.
Those are, those are the realities. And then, um, since I'm a believer, and then I moved to insurance claim management, which tackles about motor and property. So I understand better what it is about how it works. And then I realized, okay, let's find out how it is in the Philippines, right? Get a license, right? You learn, you get a license, and then you can do the business. So, kasi it's expertise also, right?
Yeah.
Then siguro yung sa mga years na ginawa natin for the BPO, ang dami naman natin natutunan doon, right?
Yeah.
We learned a lot, so put them into practice. Kasi pati yung sa bahay, di ba? How do you simplify things? How do you improve how you do things, right?
Yeah.
Yun, siguro, efficiency, parang gano'n. And then, at the same time, yung sa, basta yung mga skills na necessary kasi, to hustle, dapat inaano natin, ini-enhance. So, my networks also, majority of the people na nakakausap ko, hindi naman ako to, base lang sa feedback, no? Siguro naging core strength ko rin dyan is that I know how to speak with people. And then this good friend of mine who's the CEO of the nonprofit told me last year around November, and he was saying, okay, alam mo, I'm looking for an engagement leader, ganito, ganyan, probably may mare-refer ka. Not knowing na he was really trying to pitch it to me, na mag for profit ka, join us. There were a couple of conversations at the time, wala na, umalis ako sa corporate, I decided na, sige, let's just do something else. Right? But I'll talk more about that later kung paano ano yung nag-drive doon, how I started, right? Yeah. Pero even before I decided, marami na kasing ganon on the sides. Marami na nagsasabi na, okay, let's just do something else. Why don't we do these things, right? But I have to weigh options kasi I'm also, hindi naman malalim yung balon from a financial standpoint. We have bills to pay. I have 2 kids, man. So, you gotta make sure that the financials are also in green if you make those major decisions. In fact, that's one of the questions asked from me when I left the organization. Kung paano, kung paano yung moving forward. So, noong mga panahon yun, there already talks about that. So that built my confidence and security in a sense na if I leave corporate, I think I'll do fine.
Which one built your confidence? The insurance business or the nonprofit?
The insurance, the nonprofit, and the things that I can still do.
Okay. So you had those 2 things in play, right? Like they were already happening even before you left the corporate world?
No, they're not happening. They're not happening. They're just in the
they
background.
were just like plans.
Yeah. They were plans. So siguro dyan, di naman sa my confidence came from, paano ba? Okay. If hindi kasi ako magastos, so if when I look at it, the financials, and I say 6 months, I'll be fine. That gives me comfort. Why 6 months? Yeah, why 6 months? It's because magaling naman siguro tayo. I mean, maayos tayo, right?
So do you have like an emergency fund that you have saved up for this specific scenario or something like that? Because some people have that, right? Like for me, for example, I always keep at least 3 months worth of salary and expenses. That way, if it does happen, that's kind of insurance in a way, right? So is that something that you had already set up for yourself, which gave you the confidence, or?
Yeah. Sinet up ko ba? I don't think I set it up kasi dyan I don't have investments. Walang madami, right?
So you have
wala
savings.
Talaga. Parang lang, right? At saka, I have mortgages with the properties that I've acquired, right? So those are the only investments that I have. I did not have car loans, wala akong mga ganun. So, I'm in a very comfortable level at the time to say na, 6 months I'll be fine. And I'll give that 6 months kasi, yun nga, within 6 months naman, if kinailangan, di ba, makakahanap ka naman siguro ng trabaho. I have friends, I have network who believes in me, who I think can help me naman, right? Although the job market was open naman yung job market eh. There are many openings and hirings that very specific to the line of business that I used to do. But I should say that there are jobs out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So,
For
and
the skill
also,
level and experience that you have, for sure.
correct. So, and then also, obviously I have to talk to my wife about it. We decided together about it because it's a mutual decision. I want her to also feel
Yeah.
confident about it, and probably she needs to make adjustments and considerations when she's doing some purchase, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh,
No
when
more
she's adding
Lazada,
something,
Shopee.
yeah, right, or the actual carts in the grocery, di
Yeah,
ba?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Tightening
I've
of the belt.
traded
Yeah.
Yeah, I've traded my SNR card with Aling Puring. Okay. So
I'm
so
surprised they have a card,
those
Aling Puring.
that's a big, diba? See?
Yeah.
So because those are the basic things, no? And then at the same time, John, I was thinking, if I won't do it now, when will I do it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a scary part. That's a scary
Yeah.
part.
And then
Yeah.
just like you and your sibling, right? I'm very open to my siblings too. We have a weekly call with my brother in Canada and my sister in the States. So I opened up, these plans, and I'm scared because I report to work every day. Every day, I go to the office, I go home. The virus is still there, right?
Yeah.
And we're the only program in that organization who reports to work on site. So that scares me a lot. And then there were positive cases also in the office, so I take care of logistics. I'm responsible for the many things, on the aspects of the operation. So I opened up, and then my sister said, okay, so why don't we start the business? Why don't you join us and let's build up what we were planning 3 years back, right? So I was like, okay, so how do we go about it? And she said, yeah, let's discuss next week. Let's do this. Well, it didn't pan out really well or started really well because she doesn't know where to start, or I didn't know where to fit in the organization. Because all I know is we will start a business. So we'll try to do the research, right? We will do the compliance documents, you register, you'll do some works in people management already, like hiring, sourcing, plans, business development plans, right? So,
This is
but
the
then,
this is the virtual assistant business we're talking about,
yeah,
right?
this is the first instance, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
so these things had given me the comfort to start. After carefully planning, after assuring myself that I'll be good, or I'm good with it. I think I prayed a lot also. I prayed a lot for guidance and for sustenance and strength, because I don't know where it will lead me. It's scary. It's scary, really. But with the guidance and kasi when I left, the corporate, many people tried to reach me. My former VPs, my former bosses, HR heads, they were asking why I'm leaving, what will I do next, and I get siguro somehow I build a good relationship also, and that's one thing important to me kasi, building that relationship. Kasi this is a very small world, Jan, di ba? Remember, I left the company and then they called me back and there's an opportunity, right? And
Right.
it's a higher opportunity at the time because they believed in me. And I think one of the things that struck with me is when they said, if ever I need anything, right, and there is an opening, they will not hesitate to take me back. So I'll just have to reach out. Right? So I'm keeping that relationship to today. And I believe in relationships. So because it makes easier for everyone, right? We do the job, we finish the job, the work that we do. So from a management standpoint, siguro you also understand that you want to work with people that you know, right? And you want to work with people na alam mo rin yung capability. Because from an expectation standpoint, mas madali. From a relationship standpoint, ganun din, right? So, ayun. That's where the courage came from. When I
And
realized, no,
how did you and your sister, you mentioned, right? Like I think you explained really well how you got the courage to make the leap, right? Like to make that decision that you were gonna be you were no longer gonna be part of the corporate world. Um But what was the where did the confidence that you and your sister had about the
Mm.
business itself? Like, how did you know it was the right business? Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
So
Like, it was an idea you had 3 years ago, and so on.
yeah. So to give you context, my sister is a real estate broker in the States. She's been in the business in the past 7 years. She
Right.
started, I think, 2014, but she comes here every now and then. She's here in 2014, 2016, 2018, I think. So she frequently flies back. And imagine the traffic every day. And, when you're a call center, you live in Bulacan, you live somewhere up north, right? And you go to Manila. And she sees that because she drives around. She drives around here. She has a Philippine driver license. Then she said, how do you help these people, or how do you build opportunities? So as a real estate agent, she's into showing houses, doing open house, meeting clients. But she hates the task of doing the administrative function, like filling out contracts,
Right.
filing documents, saving them in the
Yeah.
Google Drive, renaming these documents,
Paperwork, all the
uploading them.
paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah, uploading them in a CRM to get compliance approvals and all that. So she hired an assistant. You can imagine she hired an assistant here in the Philippines way back in 2015, I think. And her assistant is well paid. The assistant actually did many parts of her organization. So she created some training and onboarding materials. She saved the links. She has this task list and all that. She has um, she had all basta lahat ng administrative, mga passwords, usernames, all the links to the business meron siya. And my sister found the value in that, right? So she was thinking, what if she gets more assistant to be deployed with her friends who are also realtors? What if she gets you know uh, she will get their buy-in. Tapos we'll do a testing phase, mga 20 hours ka lang per week or 4 hours per day. Kasi assistance lang naman eh, di ba? You just do 4 hours per day for the person. So finding value with that, and 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 yung drive niya to help and to build. So then I said, siguro okay. Sige, tingnan natin. Let's see. So doon nagsimula. Kasi she's a realtor. She doesn't have expertise in outsourcing, right? She doesn't have experience in people management or doing it at large scale. So
Right.
dun siguro pumasok. So it's a more of a collaboration. And I said, okay, so I take care of the operations here. He takes care of looking for clients and client management in the States, right? So okay, let's begin.
And that's a pretty good starting point, right? So for anyone, so I've done a lot of research. I haven't really started my own business, but at the same time, um, it's really one of the best ways to start a business is to find a problem that you yourself encounter and try to find a solution for it. And then if it works, and you know other people that have the same problem, then you can kind of scale the business and then build a market for it or find a market for it. And I think that's what happened with that, right, with your sister. So pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and just, because we're siblings, I think we share a lot of values.
Yeah.
She's also into helping nonprofit since 2014. There's this nonprofit called Project Pearl. They're feeding street children in Tondo. The CEO is based in San Francisco. So she knows the person. So she's also helping that organization. And then, syempre sa family, no, my sister has helped a lot in the family. Ayun. So, I was thinking also, John, okay, let's do this. Let me help her. And apart from doing that kasi John, I work for her as a consultant. And I try to jump into her meetings. I'm trying to do, looking at the transactions also. More of helping her simplify the process, right? At saka yung sa building ng image and marketing. Kasi my business is very active in the society in Denver. In fact, the other night, she was awarded she was one of the awardees of 40 under 40 by Denver Business Journal.
Wow,
Um,
that's amazing.
then she was director for membership of the Colorado Film. It's the Chamber of Commerce of Filipino Americans in Colorado, and then she has a network of Filipinos there. So she's really into how do you say that? So she's doing a lot of things also in Denver. So really, I think all these clients um, all these clients which are coming where I do presentations, like twice or thrice in a week for the business. Lahat yon galing sa kanya. That's coming from her pipeline.
Amazing. That's it's always good when you can find someone that you have a lot of alignment with, right? Like I think that's one thing that they teach new startup founders, where if you're looking for a founder, like a co-founder to help you build a business idea that you have, it's important that you find someone who shares a lot of your values and is aligned in a lot of the principles that you have, so that it prevents any clashing, any
Mhm.
uh, what is that, conflict in the future, right? Just because you're so aligned, while also
Yeah,
finding a
but
diverse set of
yeah,
co-founders. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
right. But John, there were also, because it's a family business, we did a lot of preparation. We did a lot of preparation. So in fact, we discussed about our exit strategies. We
Oh,
also
you did.
discussed how we handle difficult situations, right? Because when you're in the heat of the moment, you want to go back to those discussions before. You
Right.
won't think about that at the moment pag nag-aaway na kayo, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
won't.
yeah.
So
It's hard
there
to
has
come
to
up
be a
with
clear boundaries on
yeah.
right. And then, so we also have an aunt who is into a business, but they're into electrical and ano ba ang business nila? Industrial and electrical trading, no? But they've been good in the business talaga. It's also a family business. My aunt, ang mga kasama niya sa business ay mga kapatid din niya. Dito, to. So it's a really run in the family. And then they were good. So admirable. Admirable. Sobrang humbling yun. Um, my sister called her. So she discussed with her, we look up to you and you tell me more about the family business. How do we run this and all that? So my aunt talks more about respect. Yun. Tapos sinabi niya na you respect individual roles, pero alam mo naman at the end of the day, sa nire-respect kasi pinakapanganay yung auntie ko eh. So decision niya yung nasusunod. Ganun.
Right.
Pero we, 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 we learned a lot from her sa mga nasabi niya sa amin. So it kind of gave us also that comfort na, okay, we're ready to do this. In fact, John, in our own language, diba, pag nagko-call kasi kami ng sister ko, at saka yung kapatid ko, in the family, pag nagko-call kami. But when we discuss about things, nagtatawa lang kami lagi. We have this saying na, ikaw, alam mo ba, gusto mong magpagawa ng ganito, gusto mong gumanto, may suggestion ka ba? So people will not give out suggestions because pag may suggestion, may donation. There's
Very
also a different
typical.
saying na, ganito, ganyan. There is we have this saying na sasabing, ano ka ba? Don't worry, alida na ka man paborin. Yun yung comforting din na word, di ba? So,
That's what you want to
I,
hear.
I, I wish I can share it. No, it's in the other office. So, I have to print that out. Alida na ka man paborin. And put it in a frame and put it right beside me, like in the wall. Because I have to look at it every single day, right? That gives me a bit of hope that if all else fail, someone just told you that alida na ka man paborin. Right.
That
And
could be
she's
like for someone that hears that's about to give up. It could be that one sentence that gives them enough encouragement and hope and confidence to keep going, right? It's like if someone tells you that could be all you need.
Visual din kasi ako eh. So, I always wanted to
Right.
see that.
Uh-uh.
So siguro mula doon, and then I-realize ko, okay, let's roll our sleeves. Let's get it done, right? Let's keep the balls rolling. I laid out the plan. I put the task list. We started obviously with the mission, vision, right? What would be the name of the company? Who will be the website developer, right? Where do we register? Do we register here in the Philippines or do we register muna sa States, right?
Right.
How do we go about it? Tapos in the sites, because that only takes a bit of time, and I told my sister, so there were a lot of people who were trying to call me for project management. And I'm very open because it was my sister. Sabi ko, okay, so medyo slow yung business, medyo na-set up naman. I'll probably do 4 hours na lang for this, or probably, 6 hours maybe. Let's see, and then I'll take other projects, kasi syempre, it's also income, right? It's streams of
Yeah,
income.
yeah. I
And,
mean, if you have that time, extra time, right? Might as well
right.
maximize it to earn
So
more.
I looked at my calendar and I have 6 emails in Google, right? 6 emails for different businesses. I have to compress my calendar to see how my day was, how my day
So
is.
people were hiring you to become a project manager?
Yeah.
And
Consultancy.
how did you so that's a fourth business, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
Kind
actually,
of, right?
yeah, Jan, I sent proposals kasi din. So when people,
Oh,
I
you did
receive a
cold calling. Like you reached out
no,
cold.
no, no, people reach out to me, then I will ask, let's say for example, there's this pharma company, a renowned pharma who called me, and then they're trying to build a business solution center in the Philippines.
But how
And
do you know
then
to
so
call you? Like how did you advertise your services somewhere, or how did they find
no.
out about you?
So these guys are, so the guy from the pharma is a good friend, not a good friend. So the relationship is really a ninong, but he's a ninong from the church.
Oh,
Right?
okay, okay.
He used to be the director of sales for this renowned pharma. And then when I was once young, when we're doing the retreat, the weekend
Right,
retreat for
right.
the youth, so I always get him as a speaker. Parang I give him, to inspire the youth, get them ready for corporate, right? Because he's influential. And then we got him as a ninong. Obviously, we're friends in Facebook. So you see, sometimes I post about work. I post about not really work, but the industry, how it's changing, right? I And then he seemed like probably he's following. I don't know, no, blindly. Hindi ko alam na nakikita pala niya. And then he called me and said, "Hey, how are you? What are you doing lately?" Sabi ko, "Eto po. So do you still work?" Sabi ko, "Hindi na. This is what I do." "Oh, good, good, good." Sabi niya. So he told me about this. Okay, our company is planning to do this, and what we're looking at is get a consultant to do this. What do you think about that? And he said, "Okay." Sabi niya, "Okay, this is not. I have nothing to do with this. This is for a different program. I mean, a different program. I gave your name and your number to them, and then they'll call you. Or
Bala
I
na
don't
kayo.
even remember what they called me." So he hooked us up, and then yun. So there were conversations. We talked about that, the project, ano yung scope ng project, and then I think nagkaroon na ng hiccup kasi the problem with kasi mga ganitong organizations, napakaraming levels ng approvals,
Red
right?
tape, yeah.
Yeah, and then so this good friend of mine from Innovations for Community Health, Jason, at the time that I met the guys from the pharma, I also met the CEO in Greenbelt kasi hitting two birds in one stone, di ba? So I'm in Makati, nasa labas na rin ako, I met him. And he said, "So bro, this is what we do." Sabi niya, "Eto gagawin natin. These are the programs, the projects that we have." But this CEO for the nonprofit is really a good friend of mine. We're tight. In fact, when I was in Australia, specifically when I'm in Sydney, hindi ako nag-hotel. Doon ako sa kanya nakatira. Because at the time, he was taking a Master's in Public Health at the University of New South Wales. So,
Nice.
so he really wanted me also to join. Siguro nga, dahil niniwala rin siya sa akin. No? So, while we're negotiating with the pharma company and we're waiting for them, we did a couple of work na for like 2 weeks, pero wala pang contract. Like, we got the developer for them already. The project plan was in place already. I put it in a proposal and emailed it to them, including the timelines, right? And the process of the project, the scope of the project, yung handover, going to steady state, that ang tagal. So, tumawag yung pharma. Sabi ko, okay, so let's put a deadline. Kasi if we don't put a deadline dyan, magkakaroon tayo ng analysis by paralysis. So, okay, I'm giving the pharma this time, and then pag hindi pa sumagot, sasabihan kita. So I give my final, there were a couple of emails that I followed up, sumagot, nagkasakit kasi yung parang owner ng project, so na-delay daw ng konti. They promised to get back to me the following week. I sent again another and I told them I was candid and honest and say, I'm waiting for the contract from a nonprofit. And once I signed up with them, I may not be able to handle their project, right? So it's not threatening naman. I'm just saying, I'm just being very candid and transparent that I might take other commitments pag wala pa yung sa kanila.
Right.
So I don't know if how they took the email kasi they didn't reply. Pero to cut the story short, nag-proceed yung project with the nonprofit before dun sa kanila. Ayun. And then when they followed up if available pa kasi they followed up a couple of weeks after eh. Sinabi ko na hindi ko I'm sorry, tinake ko na yung project dun sa nonprofit, If you want to proceed with the project, eto yung contact list natin, eto yung just take it. Ganun. And probably, call me sometime if in the future you'll still need me. Ayun. We just keep that relationship din naman. Ayun.
Yeah. I mean, I think the lesson here for the people that are listening, at least for me, the lesson that I see, and I don't know if there's a lesson that you'd like to share also, but from what you've told me, I think the lesson here is that networking is important, like keeping close relationships with people that are genuine, are really good people, have just have a lot to offer. Just build relationships, maintain a network, keep that relationship strong as much as you can. And then the other thing would be like put yourself out there, right? Like you said that you're not quite sure how your kind of ninong found you or saw you and knew that you were ripe for an opportunity to lead a project management project. But I'm thinking it may have been one of you said you're posting on Facebook at that time, maybe one of your interviews, right? That you do live on a weekly basis.
I remember. I remember because John, remember that we're speaking terms. We used to talk more about the work, the corporate setup and all, what we do, what we can do together. He's a very good supporter of mine. In fact, 2 years back when I was trying to build a travel company, my own travel agency, I also tried to do that. See, he didn't pursue, buti na lang. But then I could have, but anyway, at the time, he was also supporting.
Yeah.
Tulog sana ako. So, pero
Yeah.
see, at the time, he was supporting me. He'll give me his contact list. He referred me to the pharma owners, pharma companies and all. He'll give me business if I proceed with that. So very supportive siya. And then, I remember I talked about intelligent operations, talking about people, process, and technology. Remember, that was my last post. I posted that, then the following day morning, he called me.
That's probably what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I shared it. It's what we do, right? So then the following day he called me, what are you doing right now? So I just told him, ito. Sabi niya, good. Sabi niya, so give this try a call, we'll see what we can do. Ayun. If you're asking John, siguro no, I will verbalize this one. The lesson that I want to give is number one, we have to have a genuine relationship. Yun.
Yeah.
No matter how painful or difficult it will be, we have to be genuine with our people. Not only with the people who have power, across all levels dapat ganun. Why? Kasi yung mga titles, tsaka yung mga, obviously, may yung mga people in position of power, they can do big decisions, no? And it may impact also your success. Pero never forget that kung ano man yung meron ka at ano man yung na-accomplish mo, it is because of the people who you work with, right? Especially those who are reporting to you. Now, relationships are important because the world is too small. Wherever you go, makikita mo yan, magkakasalubong kayo. In layman's terms, sabi ko nga before sa mga kilala ko, pag nagkasalubong ba tayo sa Ayala, iiwasan mo ba ako? Yuyuko ka lang? Or, remember? Right? That's just it. If I walk down Greenbelt, di ba? Pag nakita kita, iiwasan ba kita or what? Right? See, yun lang. Second is because in our network, I don't know, there were also what you call blind character reference. Hindi ko alam kung yun nga ba yung term nila, but someone called me before asking me if I work for this person because the person was trying to apply as a vice president for their organization. So they're trying to they're calling me to see if I work for the guy and if how is he as a boss? Is he a people? So I realized then that probably it's also that's also a process now wherein if you hire me as a manager, some people may call right and ask my previous colleagues, my previous direct reports, how I am instead of
Outside
asking
of
my
the
boss.
names that you actually give
Yeah,
them, right? They might reach out to
right,
people that
right,
yeah.
yeah. And secondly, I know this sounds absurd and this may be very old saying na, no? Pero wala naman tayo yaman eh. Hindi yung relationship lang natin tsaka yung pangalan natin, right? And then, siyempre, I have kids, right? So, when they grow up, right, do they look up to you? What would they think about your name? Diba? Yun lang naman eh. Kasi dyan, I really believe yung success, yung money, dadating lang yan. You really just have to hustle and work, right? And pero yung hindi mo kasi matututunan, ay hindi mo maaalis, kailangan yung values mo as a tao and yung character mo. Yun yung pangangalagaan mo lagi. Right? Skills, sabi ko nga sa'yo, di ba? Hindi ako magaling. Alam mo yan. Meron na talaga ako tiyaga. Grit. Ayun, yun lang talaga. Right? I wish I can, honestly, I wish I was more smarter. I wish I was more intelligent. I wish I can write better. There are many things na marami akong insecurities pagdating doon, no? Pero one thing that I can assure myself and I'm very confident about is that hindi ako susuko agad. Ayun. Sometimes,
That's for me one of the best qualities to have, right? Because and there's a lot of sayings around this, but the one that I like the most is that it's a basketball reference, but hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Have you heard that before? That's pretty amazing, right?
yeah,
Like, because even no matter how talented you are, if you give up easily, if you don't work hard, if you don't show up every day, if you don't do the things that add up, right? Like, because these things, like the small things add up, right? However you do one thing is how you do everything. It's another saying that I've learned through the years. So yeah, I think grit can take you so much more places than, like, grit can maybe even give you the skills that you never thought you would have had, like, because you have that grit.
right,
It opens up so many different possibilities because of that attitude where you don't quit, right? I can't do this right now, but I'm
correct.
not gonna quit, right? So that just opens up all the doors, I feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agree. And siguro, ano ba? Old saying na rin yun siguro, let's find our purpose, in life.
Yeah.
And then right now, change na yung rin yung long term na mga pag-iisip, no? Kasi all we're trying to do right now is get to the other side, get by, no? Kasi who knows kung dito pa tayo bukas. We'll never know. Pandemic na yun di ba? So I think it's also very important right now to enjoy what we have. Enjoy life, right? Spend some time with your family, spend time with the people that you love, right? Tsaka less na yung sa mga negativity. You have to forgive. Right? You have to forgive people who have hurt you. Move forward. Yun, importante yun kasi para walang baggages. Let's say, maganda kasi nakakatulog kapag gabi. Right? It's
Yeah,
important
yeah.
that you sleep. I think that's
Absolutely.
the
Another thing I read just recently is I forgot the name of the CEO or even the name of the company, but there's a CEO in Seattle that he was earning about $2 million every month, right? Like that's usually what CEOs earn. Um, so what he did was he decided that he was gonna um, lower his salary to 70,000, which and make it so that every employee in that company was earning 70,000 also. So the minimum wage for his company, every employee's minimum wage was 70,000. So there wasn't a single employee that earned less than the CEO. So, and there were a lot of employees who earned more than the CEO, right? Because there was still annual increase and all that stuff, right? And so what he said was, it's it creates a lot of happiness when you're well off, but at a certain point, it doesn't add any more happiness when you get more money or you become more well off, right? So there's a certain threshold where you are able to meet the basic needs, provide for your family, provide, follow your passion, give back to the
Right.
community, right? Um, so that threshold, when you once you cross that, I think it doesn't make you any more happy to earn more money after you've crossed that threshold. At least for most people, right? Some people are
Mm.
motivated just and are happy by the idea of getting more money, not necessarily what they can do with the money, but just hoarding and earning more and winning and just getting as big as they can. So some people are like
Right.
that, but for the most part, like if you can earn a certain up to a certain threshold and you're able to give back and provide for your family and do the things you
Right.
like, then that's the happiness that you need. That's the maximum happiness you can probably get, right?
Right. I think, John, it's also about it's a, I think what we are and our character is actually uh, grown by or built by our experiences, our difficulties and our pains. Siguro for me, I do not want to be ultra rich or super rich. No, I do not look at that. Siguro ako, John, I just want to be in a position where I will be able to help.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's what I wanted to do. Kasi I don't know if you know, my dad passed away when I was grade 6. So my mom is a single mom, right? And she never remarried. She works for the government, but she's not in a position to steal. Kasi, assistant ka lang eh, hindi kayo mga regional
That's
director,
these days
Alis
it's
ka na.
important to make that clear, right? Like
Yeah,
yeah, that's a very yeah, it's something you have to make clear to people
right.
if you say
I,
government.
yeah. Tapos I went to public schools, right? Um, and I'm happy that there were people who helped us get through life. Yon, I'm really happy. We don't have our own place in Davao. We were from Davao, right? So we don't have our own place. We're renting a place. We only get a mortgage. I was already high school na yata then, or even college na nga yata eh. Yeah. So I think the lessons that we learn and the lessons that we have as we grow, that will define us, that will tell us what we want to achieve. Kasi syempre we want to write a better story. We want to make this world a little better than we found it.
Yeah.
I think that's what drives me now. So um, if you're asking me what makes me happy, it's the simple things really. It's just the simple things. Um, ayun, I'm not into I'm not into anything na I think I'm more of the experiences. Dun lang siguro tayo. Ayun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty much the same way. I remember there was a time, remember when we were younger, no mga high school days or college days when like there was a lot of peer pressure and you had to have the same shoes or better shoes and
Ah,
whatnot. Yeah, I was kind of like that. You had to have the best phone, and if you didn't have any of those things, then you would be like,
the cheap thrill.
yeah, like you wouldn't be as popular, or it kind of became sort of like a judgment of your character, right? Like
Right.
nade-judge ka eh, right? Okay, hindi siguro siya okay or hindi siguro siya mabuting tao if he didn't have these things, right? And so it became kind of like a driving force, at least for me, right? Like a driving force for me when I was way younger, that I needed to earn money so that I can gain the approval of my peers, of the people around me. But at this point in my life, I've learned that whatever people say is not important at all. Like there should be zero
Yes.
importance in what people say. And what's important is really that you're able to maximize the potential that God has given you, right? Like if He put you on this earth and He had a specific purpose for your life, then if you are able to meet that, I think that's the best way to live your life, right? And experience everything that God created, right? Like travel, experience life on earth, right? Experience
Right.
all of these wonderful places that you could go to. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then I love the fact, I love what you said in trying to make the world just a little bit better than how we found it. Not everyone's like that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of alignment between what you and me value. So I hope a lot of people who are listening here actually find the same. And which brings me to a recap, right? Like so just to recap everything that I've taken some notes here. Um, so some of the things that I've learned from hearing your story and your journey so far is um, number one, you have to be prepared for emergencies, right? Like you can't be held down by your salary. What I mean is, and this is just how I'm paraphrasing. This is what I kind of got from how you described it. It's going to be very difficult for you to make the jump or to follow your dreams if you don't have an emergency fund where you can't you're completely 100% dependent on the salary that you're getting from your company. It's going to be close to impossible, right? So until you get that, it's going to be very hard, especially if you have a family. But once you have it, then it creates a little bit of freedom where, like in your case, you have 6 months runway where you can survive without a salary. And in that 6 months, you just have to find like, something else, right? And then the other thing was making sure that you have alignment with your co-founders, right? Like if you're starting a business and you need co-founders, or if you're planning on getting co-founders, then you need to have the same values, you need to have the same principles, you need to you have to be different people. Obviously you can't be the same person, but the values and principles should at least align so that you can avoid conflict, and it's easier for you to have conversations and to create a like a framework for all of these things that might happen in the future, especially around your relationship as co-founders.
Great.
You need to do your due diligence, right? Like you need to know what you're getting into. You have to make a plan, right? In your case, it was a very specific plan. You had a problem that you saw, you were able to solve on a scale of one person, and then you scaled that up to however big your businesses are or business is right now. um,
Right.
so if you're passionate about something but and you want to make it a business, I don't think you can do that if it doesn't solve anything, right? Like if it doesn't solve a problem, it's gonna be very hard to make a business out of that
That's what
passion.
marketing teaches us, right?
Yeah. I think it's common sense, right? Like if you're very passionate about like paper maches, but nobody
Right.
cares about paper maches, like nobody, there's no market, it's not solving a problem, then it's going to be very hard for you to make a business out of it and earn money out of it. It will remain a hobby, right? You can still do it,
Right.
but it's going to be hard to make a living out of it, right? And then use your time wisely, right? I think that's the best. That your life is a good example, or one of the best examples of being able to use your time wisely, because you are able to provide value to Filipinos by connecting them to employers in the US. You're able to, provide insurance to people that need it. And insurance is absolutely one of the best ways to protect your wealth, protect your loved ones in case something happens and you're the sole earner, or they depend on you for their livelihood. And then
Right.
you're able to give back, right? Like those are three different things that I'm not quite sure how you're managing your time. Maybe you can share a little bit about how you manage your time.
Yeah. So um, paano ba? So I'll give you a run in my day. No.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Give
wake
us
up.
a day in the life of Mr. Hareno, COO.
I wake up around 11 in the morning or 12. That is if I don't have meetings early in the morning. Then I start my work. I start to um, look at the things from the NGO perspective or the nonprofit at 1 p.m. onwards, roughly around until 9 p.m., right? In between, I have to make calls with my assistant to make sure that the bits and pieces of work from the insurance standpoint is working and there's no problem, right? And then at night, probably around 10 in the evening onwards, that's where I work for the PA service, right, that we offer. I schedule my meetings and then I have a hard stop at 4 in the morning. That's what I do. Hard
So
stop
you
at
you're
4 in the
able to
morning.
sleep at from 4 to around 11.
Yeah, that's 6 already, or 7 maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even if
that's
you do
about
an
seven
overtime of
hours.
around, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the benefit of working from home. Then in between, from the 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. time, while working for the projects and works for the nonprofit, I can do also my groceries. I can run around 5 p.m. Just to keep your physique moving around and the muscles moving also, right? So
And
yeah,
playing
I
with the
think those are
kids,
the
right? I'm sure there's some time in
yeah,
between all of those meetings or family time, playing with the kids.
right.
Yeah.
And I also make it a point to bring my eldest out every day, riding a bike, walking, you know, just so they see the world outside inside.
So there's really no work-life balance in your life right now. It's really just a blend of work and life, right? Like it just blends together because of how you've structured it,
Yeah,
and it works, right? It doesn't have to be there doesn't have to be a clear
correct.
demarcation where X time to this time is work, X time to this time is
Right.
personal.
I think blocking your calendars, and plotting your day is really important. That's how I do it. Every Friday, I have to know what my next week will be. That's
Okay.
how I yeah.
And that's
Because
luck.
I'm really not good at
Nothing added after Friday.
nothing added. Kasi I'm an Adventist, John, so we celebrate the Sabbath, right? Friday sundown until the entire Saturday. So that's dedicated for the Lord. And then for Sundays, that's the
Mm.
time that sometimes I bring the family out. We just drive around. Di kami lumalabas ng kotse. Although, minsan we go to CCP and PICC, right? An open area.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, may mga tao kasi doon. So you can just open your car or bring out your chairs, right? And you see people who are running, May mga distances naman. So just for us to, get some fresh air. And there are also weekends. We make it a priority, especially nung hindi pa strict yung lockdown, to go to Pampanga.
Mm.
Siguro mga twice a month. Minsan three times pa nga eh. So there to visit our relatives, no? Kasi they're getting old, right? Our parents are getting old. You want to make sure you spend the most you spend time with them. So ayun.
Okay. Awesome. That's amazing, man. Like that's a really amazing way to schedule your day. You're getting every minute. Um, you're squeezing the life out of every minute of the day, which is amazing. Um, so one question, and then I have one other final question, which is kind of a podcasting. The one question I have before that is like how do you know that when what's a good way to determine that you need to hire a personal assistant? Like at what point? Like what's a good
First,
criteria to say that I need a personal assistant?
okay. So look at it this way. What are the things that you do? The things that you can delegate, right? Things that you can delegate. How much of that is taking your time, right? Now also look at how much time, how much money you can make out of that time, or how much time you would free up if you delegate that and just pay the person. So let's just say, for example, if calculate natin, so magkano ba kinikita ng tao isang araw? Magkano ba kinikita mo dun sa 4 hours, right? At your level, do you really want to do and spend effort? Diba? I'm just saying, I'm very candid here. Kasi John, if you will be able to dedicate 4 hours of the things that you do to a virtual assistant and pay them good money, right? And then you can make more money because you have another 4 hours that you can spend for consultancy. And
Amazing.
consultancy pays good, I'll tell you, right? So one, it's an opportunity for you for another income streams, right? Or streams of income. Second, you were able to provide jobs for people who need it, especially this time. So it's a win-win, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. You're gonna have to teach me on a different occasion how to start a consultancy business, because
Sure.
I have a wealth of experience and I love telling people what to do. So
Yeah, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with friends, John. No problem.
yeah, yeah,
No
okay, awesome,
problem.
awesome. All right, cool. So my
And
last
we're,
question.
hmm.
My last. Sorry, you're about to say something. I think I interrupted you.
No, I'm saying there were many development work which is happening in the Philippines and in the space right now. And I'm sure they need people who like similar to you and me who have corporate experience who want to uh, infuse some of those cultures and practices in their organization to make them more efficient at what they do and get a bigger impact to 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 implement the projects. So yeah, and
Yeah,
knowing your capabilities and your skills, I'm sure that will be a lot of help for them too.
I would love to be able to add value to companies out there that might need it, and create better working environments, better cultures for employees in our country. So thank you. Yeah, I look forward to that. And then the final question is like, what is one thing? So I have it here. This question is actually so one of my like idols or people I look up to is Tim Ferriss, right? So a lot of the stuff that you
Mm.
said is actually in the book for our work week. I don't know if you read that book, but a lot of the things that you're doing actually aligns to the best practices and teachings in that book. Have you read that book? Hello, Jim? Can you hear me?
4 hour work week. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you now. Yeah, yeah. There. Oh, there you go. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I said I remember reading that back in 2014, 2015 maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So Tim Ferriss also has another book called Tribe of Mentors, and in that book he
Mm.
reached out to so many different people, successful people, and sent them a bunch of questions that they answered. Right. So one of the questions, and this is my final question:
Mhm.
in the last 5 years, what new belief or behavior or habit has most improved your life?
Mm. Habit. Habit. I think it's really being more efficient, not being comfortable, understanding the value of time, maybe, John. Um, you have to find out what you can do and how you can max out your time every single day to produce more, to impact more people. I think that's what it is. And right now, I think I'm more, I should say, I'm more patient. I'm more diplomatic. And I hustle.
Yeah.
Before kasi, di ba, you know, sometimes you were very comfortable where you are. And yun lang, di ba? I mean, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Ganun naman
Right.
tayo, di ba? Especially, pero if your circumstances are changing,
I think I lost you again, Jim.
to be in a position where I will be able to help them.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Jim. This has been an honor hosting you in this podcast. Is there any way that we can support any of your projects? Um,
Sure. This is
yeah.
the more exciting part, which I really like with your podcast. Because I was watching and listening to your podcast now. First one is if you have skills, you're technology savvy, you have extra time, whatever time of the day it is, right? Shoot me an email. It's jim.jareno or jareno@gmail.com. We'll try to find clients that you can work on or work with, right, on your free time, whatever skill you have. Either you're
Wow.
good in social media, in advertising, you have accounting or clerical skills. So I don't know, if you want additional 3 hours of work every day in your time, shoot me an email. So that will help our VA service also. Okay. Also, if you your properties need insurance, if you have vehicles which you register every year with LTO, you have to renew your comprehensive insurance. Your condos or your homes, insure them because those are your investment. That's where your family lives. Not sure if you know, not only you can insure the building, you can also, right? And lastly, please, if you know anyone who has tuberculosis, okay, or who needs treatment, the government has a mandate to find these missing TV cases, log them, and treat everyone. We can help you. You can visit our website. It's www.innovationch.org. We have a clinic in Mandaluyong, and there's another one in Marikina. We will help you. You can also reach out to me, and we'll find a doctor for you, and we'll facilitate your treatment.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. I'll make sure to include your contact details on the description when I post the podcast. Thank you so much for your time.
14354.
Yep. Sorry, you could say that again?
Sure. My number is 0928-521-4354. And my email is jim.chareno@gmail.com.
Got it. All right. Cool. Thank you so much, Jim. It's an honor. I love talking to you, not even on the podcast, but this is especially special just because our conversation is recorded and can inspire a lot more people. So thank you so much, Jim. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you. I appreciate that you shared it with us. Thank you.